Welcome to a new planetary and seismic update. The critical planetary geometry, as discussed in the previous update, did not produce major seismic activity as we anticipated, but it did result in a clustering of stronger earthquakes, magnitude 5.6 and larger, as we typically display. As we can see here on the SGI graph, especially from the 17th to the 21st, we see a huge clustering of stronger earthquakes following and at the time of critical planetary geometry. And then interestingly, after the conjunction, the planetary conjunction with Venus, the stronger earthquakes suddenly stopped. And we see the nice two red peaks, that's a conjunction with Mercury, two conjunctions with Mercury. And we see a gap from the 21st to the 25th, no stronger earthquakes until the 25th, when we see a purple peak again involving Venus, and we see a magnitude 6.3 earthquake south of Tonga Islands. So what is the geometry for the coming week? Let's say the next 9 days. If we look at the SGI graph for the coming week, we see a magnitude 5.9 earthquake, by the way, that happened yesterday night deep below Primorye, Russia, and that is just west of Japan. And this is interesting because we have seen some deep earthquakes, or stronger deep earthquakes in the northwest Pacific, and that could indicate upcoming strong major seismic activity. It's been a while since we've seen major to great seismic activity in the northwestern part of the Pacific. So the planetary geometry for the coming week, we see a purple dashed peak that is Venus, Earth, Uranus in a 90-degree angle, and that will be on the 30th, and then that will be followed by planetary conjunction on July 1st. Is the only planetary conjunction actually with Mercury, Sun and Earth, not a really critical conjunction unless it's in a convergence with additional critical geometry. And then we have two dashed peaks, purple and red, on the 3rd of July, 2nd, 3rd, or at midnight, and then 15 hours later, and that will be Mercury, Venus and Neptune, followed by Venus, Mercury, Neptune, and that could be a critical geometry. Usually when that happens with Uranus, it will be much more critical, as we've seen in January and also in May. That was followed by 7.6 and 7.7 respectively. I don't think that's going to happen this time, but we do see a high lunar peak at the same time, 20 on the index, also on July 3rd. Actually, we do see quite some lunar geometry, as I marked here, with green labels, and that is because of the positions of Mars and Saturn, as I already discussed in previous updates, is going to be more and more critical as as Earth is approaching the Mars-Saturn line. As we can see here in the solar system, we see the red lines. This is the planetary geometry, Mercury, Sun and Earth, and also Venus, right angle with Earth and Uranus. But then the lunar geometry marked with the green lines, that is the interesting part here. We see that as the planets move counterclockwise, Earth is approaching that Mars-Saturn line. And as that happens, the Moon makes critical geometry, conjunctions, but also 90-degree or right angles with Mars and Saturn in a very short time. And as that time grows shorter, it will be more critical, and we could have a high 7 to 8 magnitude earthquake following conjunctions or right angles with the Moon and Mars-Saturn. And as we go into July and then approach August, it will be really critical, because in August Neptune is going to join that critical geometry, and that is going to be more critical because if Neptune gets involved with Mars, we can have a mid-8 magnitude earthquake easily. And I will show you two examples. It's been 11 years. In 2012 we have two examples of very similar geometry. First, in April 2012 we see that Earth was almost between Mars and Neptune, and the Moon was making a right angle with Mars and Neptune. That was on April 9th, 2012. 2 days later, there were two magnitude 8 earthquakes peaking 8.6 off the coast of northern Sumatra. There were no planetary conjunctions. It really was this lunar geometry. Similarly, 6 months later, in October 2012, we see that Earth was almost between Mars and Jupiter. And that was on October 25th. And 3 days later, after the Moon made 90-degree or right angles with Mars and Jupiter, there was a magnitude 7.8 earthquake at Haida Gwaii region, that is off the coast of Canada, south of Alaska. So as you can see, this lunar geometry can be really critical. It should not be underestimated. And we are going to have similar geometry with the Moon, with Mars and Saturn, and then later on also with Mars and Neptune. And that is something to keep in mind. So the atmospheric fluctuations that we picked up in recent days, and we go back to the 23rd here, we had a fluctuation marking the western part of Turkey and also into the Balkan, and there was some seismic increase there already. And if we count about 6 days, 7, 8 days, we end up on the 29th for the first days of July, and that would be around the time of some critical planetary geometry on the 30th or the 1st of July. And also Africa and south of Africa. Then we had a fluctuation on the 24th, very much in the region where there was this magnitude 7.8 earthquake in 2012 at the Haida-Gwaii region. This is southern Alaska, just north of the Cascadia subduction zone. It is very well possible that in the short term there will be strong to major seismic activity there. And then on the 26th, also the North Pacific region, the Red Islands, Aleutian Islands, and to the south, Tonga and just north of New Zealand. Again, we can count about 3 to 6 days most of the time. Sometimes it takes a bit longer, but these fluctuations can be significant. They may indicate upcoming larger seismic activity in one of these areas. And as you can see, the North Pacific regions, we see fluctuations there, but so far no major to great seismic activity. This is very well possible in the next 2 months that we're going to have a really major or great seismic event in the North Pacific. This could be on the side of Japan, north of Japan, the Kuril Islands, Kamchatka, or the Red Islands, Aleutian Islands, and Alaska area to South Alaska. Because if you look at the recorded earthquakes since 1900, since recording began, we see that most of the magnitude 8 plus earthquakes, 8.5, 8.6, they actually happened in the northwestern part of the Pacific. And it's been a while since that happened. So we can only say it's going to be a matter of time, and it is going to happen. And then on the 27th, that was yesterday, again we see a fluctuation marking Alaska, South Alaska. And that could be significant. We'll have to wait and see if that is going to be critical there. We look at the planetary geometry, and again the planetary geometry itself is not too critical in the coming week, but the lunar geometry is going to be critical. And I cannot say if it's going to be within 3 hours or 15 hours that the geometry will be most critical. That very much depends on the condition of Earth's crust, the amount of stress, and that is the one thing that we cannot measure. But we keep track of the planetary and lunar geometry, and in particular the lunar geometry is going to be critical, especially in the next 2 months. And I will keep emphasizing that. This is the planetary and seismic update so far. Stay safe, and don't forget to check out the website, of course, with the latest updates, also atmospheric fluctuations. Until next time.